Hello and welcome to the Garden City Community Chat Show, episode number 614, with your hosts Carrie, Tom, and Mike. Their guest for tonight is Derek Partin from D&D Sports Chat. Enjoy the show.
Well, hello, Garden City and all our neighboring communities. This is episode number 614. It's the Garden City Community Chat Show. It's Thursday, March 16th, 2023. We're so happy you could be with us tonight. We hope you're all safe and doing well. I am your host, Carrie. Also joining me tonight are my co-hosts, Garden City's very own meteorologist, Tom Iwinski. Tom, how you doing?
Doing good now that the precip is no longer snow, finally.
Yeah.
We're finally changing things up after the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it was nice today, really nice. Also, former Garden City councilman and past president of the Garden City Kiwanis, Mr. Mike Jones. How we doing tonight?
Excellent, Carrie, but I'm getting better. Thank you.
Awesome. Hey, tonight the boys of summer returning soon. We thought it would be good to invite back our resident sports guru, Derek Partin from D&D Sports Chat. We'll get his take on the Tigers' upcoming season and much more. We want to hear your predictions as well, so go ahead and post them in the comments section. We'll be chatting with him shortly. Also, Joe Bartley from J&J Taxes is back with another informative tax talk for you as we get closer to the tax filing deadline. Tom's going to be here shortly with the ever-changing weather forecast for you, and Mike closes out the show with the latest community events.
That's right.
Stay tuned for that. We got quite a few of them, too, tonight, Mike.
Good.
Now, tonight, if you're watching us live on Facebook or YouTube, go ahead and post your comments and questions in the comments section, or you can email them to us at gccommunitychat@gmail.com or text them to us at 734-788-9319, and we'll get those up for you. We also want to take a quick minute to say thank you to each and every one of you who listen and support us every Thursday night, not only from our hometown of Garden City, but several of our surrounding communities as well. We really appreciate everyone's support, and remember, we'll continue to promote not only our community, but yours. And speaking of community, if your organization or business has any events or announcements that you would like to get out to our listeners and would like to be featured on our show, what should they do, Mike?
I would suggest they email us.
Exactly. Email the details to us at gccommunitychat@gmail.com or message us on Facebook at facebook.com/gcchat. And Mike will be more than happy to pass that information along. We also encourage any local business to check out and join the Garden City Business Alliance and see what great things they have to offer. For more information, you can go to gardencitybusinessalliance.org. All right, let's get Tom in here with the latest check of the weather, and then we'll be chatting with Derek from D&D Sports Chat, so stand by for Tom. Okay, let's do a check on weather with Doppler Tom. Let's see what he has in store for the rest of this week and the weekend coming up. Tom, take it away. Hey, it was a beautiful day today till the rain came.
It really was a much warmer day out there. We got well into the 50s, probably into the mid 50s. Not a whole lot of sunshine to work with today, but still, regardless, it was a very mild day out there. And now things are starting to change a little bit. We're starting to get into some more rain late this evening, and this will continue pretty much throughout the rest of the night out there with kind of periods of light to moderate rain showers moving through. I'm not expecting any craziness with this, not expecting any storms or heavy rain or flooding. It's just going to be a nice steady rain moving through with a fairly mild night for this, relatively speaking. We're going to stay into the 40s all night with this rain and no snow to speak of. So I know that if you have been keeping up on the last couple of weeks, it feels like every Friday the last couple of weeks there was some sort of big winter storm moving through.
Yeah.
Luckily, this Friday will not be like any other Fridays. It's definitely going to be a little bit different, but still there's going to be some stuff that we're going to keep an eye on. We're probably going to deal with a little bit of that morning rain continuing to move out of the region. Overall, again, it's not going to be anything too crazy out there. The one caveat is that a cold front's going to be moving into the region during the morning as well. So we're going to overall see kind of the morning temperature peaking for the high during the morning, and temperatures will be falling throughout the day tomorrow. So we're probably going to stay into around the upper 40s for a high temperature during the morning, and then rapidly falling into the 30s by the evening. And overall, it's going to be windy as well getting into tomorrow afternoon. Potentially, we're going to see gusts up to 40 miles an hour, ushering in that colder air. But still, we're not expecting any wintry weather with this colder air moving in. It's just going to be some cold air behind this system with some windy conditions as well. And overall, this windy kind of weather is actually going to continue into Saturday as well. Again, potentially wind gusts up to 40 miles an hour during the afternoon again for another day. So going to be windy the next couple days as the system moves through, ushering in that much colder air. And overall, Friday night and into Saturday night, overnight low temperatures are going to be in the low 20s. So definitely going to get fairly cold behind this system. High temperatures over the weekend are going to be fairly chilly as well. We're probably not going to get out of the 30s. So it's going to be overall a cold next probably 72 hours before kind of modifying into next week. But the good news is that by the time we kind of get toward Sunday and into Monday, the sun will return. Overall, we're going to see the sun return and probably see modifying temperatures by Monday, like I said. So by the time we get into Monday, Tuesday, and into Wednesday, we're going to see temperatures jumping back up to around 50 and into the low to mid 50s as we kind of get into next week. So just unfortunately going to be a cold weekend on tap, and it's going to really switch things off and get much warmer into next week. And the only kind of other caveat is kind of toward the end portion of next week, kind of around Wednesday night into Thursday, we could see our next system begin to move into the region. And at this time, with the milder air, it looks like an all rain event. So not really seeing too much in the way of any additional snow in the forecast over the next week or so. But this is Michigan and crazier things can happen. But at this time, I don't really see too much snow coming back into the forecast to end the month of March. So we'll see how that goes going forward. But we don't want any more, right? We're definitely really starting to be done with winter out there because spring is right around the corner into next week. So we're definitely going to be seeing that getting into next week as well. So kind of right on cue for this time of year. So much quieter pattern, just some rain tonight and into tomorrow, windy Friday and Saturday, and then modifying temperatures into next week with probably a little bit more of another rainstorm toward the end portion of next week. So nothing too crazy to speak of. Other portions of the U.S. right now are dealing with a lot of craziness as well. They're actually dealing with that pretty good snow just to our north and west across kind of Minnesota and Wisconsin and into the northern portion of the UP of Michigan. So they're going to deal with some more snow up there, but staying north of our area. Severe weather to the south, wind in the middle of the country as well. That's going to be kind of affecting us as well. The west has obviously been fairly busy as well. They're starting to see a breakout there. So overall, the weather's been fairly busy over obviously the last week and even into the last couple weeks. So we're going to start to see things quieting down across the country as we kind of get into the next couple days and into next week as we usher in spring. I can't even believe that spring is already right around the corner. So it's definitely a welcome change to the weather pattern. So it's definitely going to be modifying temperatures in the next week. So enjoy that. But if you want to keep tuned to all my local weather information, just go to our website, DopplerTomsWeather.com, and it will keep you updated as spring starts next week. So definitely looking forward to that change. One thing that I did not enjoy was that time change. Ooh, they need to.
Oh, yeah.
I can't handle that anymore.
Yeah, that probably really messed you up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What was that, Mike? I started to cut you off.
You work some crazy.
I just said the vernal equinox.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Right. All right, Tom. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Always.
Have a good night.
You too, guys.
All right. DopplerTomsWeather.com does a great job. All right, let's introduce our guest for tonight. Always good to welcome him on the show and get his perspective and take on all the sports news. Please welcome back my son, Derek Partin from D&D Sports Chat. There he is. How you doing? Thanks for being here.
What's up, everybody? How you doing?
We're doing great. So Tigers, as of now, are 11-9 in the Grapefruit League. I don't know what they're doing tonight. I think they played tonight at 6:30. But
yeah, I mean, it's really kind of crazy that the Tigers, of everybody having all these low expectations for the 2023 season, and they've actually been knocking the cover off the ball in spring training. You've been seeing a lot of guys that either some new faces that are coming on. There's also some familiar faces that had kind of a sluggish 2022 that are actually hitting the ball and seeing the ball really, really well. Right. Pitching's been kind of consistent, but I mean, it is spring training. It is kind of knocking the rust off, but for what a lot of people are kind of expecting this team to do this season, it's kind of nice to see them start off on the right foot. But again, it doesn't count yet until April 6th, and we'll see what actually what team shows up on the field. But so far, it actually looks pretty entertaining.
They got a lot of injuries already. They got Tarek Skubals out. Casey Mize, he probably missed the whole season. Tyler Nevin, he's questionable at third base.
Yeah, with this team and all the injuries, I mean, we saw kind of what happened with Spencer Torkelson last year. He had his struggles too. Javier Baez. A lot of people kind of went into last year thinking that there's no way that this team was only going to win 66, ball games. I mean, I think I had them on my radar winning like 86, 87 games. And they obviously set the bar very, very low, very quick, got in a hole early, and the season was pretty much over by early May. So, I mean, I've been kind of talking to other people about this, friends and everybody else, just, you got to set those expectations very low for this team this year. There's, you got a flashy new high price shortstop that came in here, Riley Green, who's been, obviously talked about as one of the highest top prospects on this team. Yeah. You got a young pitching staff with a lot of upside. That a lot of guys are in AAA right now, still kind of conditioning before they come up to the big leagues. A slew of moves were made for this team, and the bad version of Javier Baez, going back to him. I mean, a lot of people thought last year when we signed him, this was going to be, that next big star, that next big hitter, consistent hitter, even though we knew the strikeouts were elevated in his previous years. But just a lot of question marks that were heading into 2023 after 2022. But right now you got a whole rebuild that you're starting from scratch once again. You thought the rebuild was shaved off last year completely, and now you probably set yourself back another 2 to 3 years before you're really competing. So I'm excited to see what Scott Harris has in store for this team. It's been a real quiet off season, kind of expected, but I think that just as long as you get to see some of those younger guys, the hitters, some of the pitchers too that have been coming up through the farm leagues, if they can, make some appearances and make some noise, I think that, that'll be a step in the right direction for this young team.
Well, they got Meadows back too, right? He's coming back.
Yeah, I mean, you got a guy like Meadows, and, he had his vertigo issues last year, and I think he missed quite a bit of time. And I think really when you look at him, he comes back with the best track record, and he's a proven major leaguer. enough success to believe a bounce back is definitely not only possible, but very, very likely. Obviously, he had his unfortunate injuries, as we touched on, personal matters, but I think a fresh 2023 start, with a good head on his shoulders, and I think a lot of conditioning this offseason is going to be a better season for him. I think anything less than 20 home runs for him this year, if he plays a good bit of the season, is pretty much going to be what to expect out of him. So I hope that he can stay consistent and, kind of have his personal problems at ease this year.
Right. Well, let's talk about Miggy. It's his final curtain call this year.
Yeah, final swan song for Miggy. Now that the Miggy numbers, the big stats, the career home runs, the hits, he can still pad those stats, obviously, for the record book's sake. But he will probably be. I'm looking maybe about 125, 130 game starts this year. I don't think you're going to see him. You're going to see him mostly off the bench. He won't be starting, I don't think, a lot of games. But
I think that's even high.
Yeah, I mean, he lost, again, a lot of weight. I think he lost about another 15 pounds in the offseason, as he does every year. Puts it back on mid-season. But it is nice to see him, the camaraderie. I think that's going to be one of our brighter spots, I think, in this lull of the season, is that you're still going to have Miggy's personality. He's a big personality. He's a great, fun guy. And you love to, obviously, have the camaraderie. So that'll be nice to have. But
he's definitely a leader. He'll be a leader in that clubhouse with them youngsters, and they'll learn a lot from him for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think that's another reason why, after the disappointing year last year, not only from him from a personal standpoint, or I should say professional standpoint with the stats, but just from what this team did as a whole, just completely under exceeding expectations. So I think to come back one more year to mold some of these younger guys, to be on this team in future years to come, I think that was another reason why he wanted to come back for one more year. And it's unfortunate because we still have that payroll that we're paying him. I think a lot of people were hoping that he was going to retire, but
$35 million is quite an incentive.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of people were just like, yeah, Miggy, just take your money and just ride off into the sunset, But hey, if he still loves the game and he's healthy, he's having fun, then give him one more actual swan song for 2023.
Well, let's talk about the starting lineup. You got they're kind of undecided with Badu and Carpenter. I like Kerry Carpenter, not only because I like his name, but he's had a pretty good spring season.
Yeah, I mean, that's a guy that I really look forward to seeing this year. I don't think you're going to see a lot of him. You got to remember too that with some of these other unknown names, you got a guy like Nick Maton. He'll get regular at bats to show his worth. As a new third baseman, he was acquired. After John Candelario and the Soto trade. I think you're going to see a lot of him. He was kind of used as a utility guy, kind of bouncing up and down from the minors with the Phillies. I don't see Maton having a higher ceiling than a utility guy this year, but he doesn't really excel at any one thing and doesn't really offer a lot of power to be long-term fix at third. But I would be shocked if the Tigers do actually plan on using him being as the long-term plan. You also look at a guy like Ryan Kreidler. He, I think, has a good chance to take over some duties at third base. I'm kind of worried about the upside as swing and miss has been a problem for him. He has swung at a lot of bad pitches. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Javier.
Yeah.
Injury held him back before making his debut with the Tigers. I think he only had about 26 games he played last year. So he is an older prospect. Usually at 25, you should be probably on your third or fourth year in the majors, but he is an older prospect. I think it's going to be time for him this year. It's going to be a make it or break it season for him if he stays with the organization and if he does make a splash. So I look forward to him. I think the outfield this year brings a lot more promise than the infield. Like I said, Riley Green's going to be your stud. I mean, no doubt about it. You saw signs of what this guy could do last year. Just phenomenal outfielder in arm. I mean, he probably had. What's that?
His hitting too.
Oh yeah, his hitting was great. I mean, he's a consistent hitter. He sees the ball well. He can put the ball in play. He can almost, pretty much call his shots. I mean, he's that young, but he's also got a lot of veteran prowess, I think, kind of behind him right now. And he's a stud. He's got some growing to do as a player still, but I mean, he's far from a finished product. He hasn't even hit his ceiling yet. This guy Give him about 2 or 3 more full-time years, and I think you're going to see him as going to be your future of the franchise. You got a guy that with Akil Baddoo too. You mentioned with Baddoo, he brings an infectious energy, a swagger, plenty of questions to be answered at the plate for him. He also has a lot of swing and the miss issues. He has a problem seeing the ball every now and then. He can pop you a few dingers and kind of put on a show, but his stats against lefties are a little bit troublesome too. I mean, the guy he can hit the righties, but the lefties are a little bit of a problem. He has to work on that. But I think that him becoming an everyday player this year, I still don't see it. I think that you're going to be seeing a lot of guys by committee in a lot of these positions. He's only 24.
First base. They're going to bring what's his name around?
Torkelson. I think
Torkelson
will be all right.
Yeah, Torkelson.
Yeah, I mean, I think Torkelson. We saw last year. We saw the flash of really, really consistent hitting, but then he just was like, well, I don't know if he's ready yet to have that starting role yet. First base, I think he will be your first baseman to start the season, but I think that the guy still has a lot more conditioning to do, a lot more training to do before he is your everyday first baseman and making everyday starts on this team. You got a lot of investment capital in this guy, and that's somebody that you want to keep giving him a chance. But kind of like Casey Mize, we'll talk about him later, obviously, with his injuries. Right. There's only so long you can really give a guy. I mean, as far as timing and how long you want to see him produce and actually be an everyday major leaguer on your team. With this team per se, because it's such a young core, I would hope that you could see Torkelson maybe play more of an everyday role, but I think he has a lot more to prove yet. You did mention, and you mentioned Kerry Carpenter. I liked what I saw towards the end of 2022. Yeah. I think you're going to see him at DH a few games. I think you're going to see him more primarily in the outfield. Right. He did hit 30 dingers in the minors, it's a good sign to see. He got the call. He impressed. He started 31 games last year, kind of when the season was already a foregone conclusion. But I think the Tigers are going to make him. They're going to try to make him an everyday starter, getting a good amount of at bats. I think you're going to see him start maybe around 130, 140 games. It'd be nice. It'd be nice to see him if he can get that many games. But
you think that they'll platoon him and Baddoo out there in the outfield, or no?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of the platooning. I think probably the first couple of months of the season, depending on what the record is and how hot they are out of the gate, which I don't consider to be very hot at all. Yeah. I think you're going to see a lot of platooning. You're going to see a lot of just kind of feeling out positions and seeing where everybody kind of slots in. You've seen a lot in spring training. I haven't caught a lot of games yet, but I think that's going to be really the key is the first 20, 25 games of the season, you're going to get a real feel with what positions everybody feels comfortable most at. So.
Yeah, Michael Bingo, he agrees with you. He watched Baez bat in the World Baseball series, and same old swing, terrible swings.
Yeah. I mean, he's a guy that's kind of like, swing and a miss. He's hitting for the fences, or he's going to be swinging at the golf. I mean, yeah. Baez is a guy that's got to see the ball a lot better, and I don't know what it is. I mean, the guy he doesn't choke up on his bat. He's literally he's close to a 200 strikeout a year guy, and if you're going to be that guy, you should be cranking 35 to 40 bombs. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I can take a 230 to 240 average if you're cranking 35 to 40 home runs, but you got to be more consistent at the plate. Got to have more eyes on that.
I think our catching position's pretty solid.
Yeah, Jake Rogers. I think that Jake Rogers, what I saw in the beginning, you are going to have Eric Haas. They're going to be kind of doing a dual role there, sharing that position. Yeah. You got, if you remember, Jake Rogers was acquired in that Verlander trade back in 2017. Exactly. He's only had 73 career games in the last 5 or 6 years because a lot of it's been due in part to injury. In that small sample size, though, he has shown some promising power. He's got 10 home runs in the games that he has, started in, but he does have a strikeout rate that's approaching nearly 40%, which is a bit elevated. And then you got a guy like Haas. I mean, the hometown boy out of Westland. We love to see some Eric Haas. He puts on a show when he's at the plate, but he's also a strikeout machine too. He's kind of in the same boat. We saw his 2021 rookie campaign. He had 22 home runs in 98 games, which I thought was way beyond expectations. Nobody thought we were going to see a Westland homegrown boy go out there and pop 20 dingers in a few short games, but he did. But the power did dip last year a little bit as we did kind of start him in a few more games. Haas started to kind of tail off a little bit. He was being they were starting to figure him out a little bit at the plate. But, he's 30 years old now. He is going to be in a limited role. I think you are going to see more of Jake Rogers than Eric Haas behind the plate. I don't think Haas is going to be your long-term guy. But, I think if you cross your fingers hard enough, you're hoping that your prospect, Dylan Dingler, will have a big 2023 and a push for time because he's going to be your future behind the plate. So,
Right.
What about
Well,
the
they
starting
opened March
pitching?
30th in Tampa, and then they opened their home opener April 6th against Boston.
Yep.
So they're going to be tested right out of the chute.
Oh, yeah.
What's Derek think of the starting pitching?
Yeah.
So when we headed into last year, you had a rotation that looked pretty damn good on paper. You had Tarek Skubal, you had Casey Mize, Eduardo Rodriguez, and you had Matt Manning. That looked like a promising top four for this team. And, obviously you had Mize. He started 2 games before getting injured with his Tommy John. Skubal had fantastic stretches. He's a strikeout machine. I think if Mize can get healthy, which is going to still take a full season to get over Tommy John, we've seen it happen many times. Sometimes you come back better than ever. Sometimes you just can never be the same. But Skubal had fantastic stretches before we shut him down late in the season. And then you had Rodriguez, who had some real bizarre happenings that we won't even get into that. But the guy, I think, disappeared. They couldn't get a hold of him for weeks or whatever like that. I mean, he's had some mental issues, but, he's another guy, too, that has he's shown signs of really solid outings, but just can't really get it all together up here. And that's, I think, what's going to hinder him again. But hopefully he gets some of that figured out. But Rodriguez, he's been looking really, really good in spring training. Can't take that away from him. A bounce back year would do great things for his contract runs through 2026. So you got him for a few more years. He does have a player out after 2023. So after this year, he does have a player out. Right. Detroit, I think that they don't need Eduardo to turn into an ace. I would kind of consider him to be one, considering that you have Skubal, who I think needs to bounce back from how he tailed off with injury last year. And Mize obviously will be, you hope to have Mize as your future ace, but while he's out, you don't know what you're going to get when he does come back. But, I think that between a number 2 and a number 3 level starter out of Rodriguez, that's what I would like to see out of him this year. If you can get anywhere between, I think, 9 to 11 wins out of Rodriguez, I think that'd be a good step in the right direction compared to what he happened last year. I kind of like the idea of bringing back Matt Boyd. I'm not going to lie. I think that you signed him back. You got a veteran of Michael Lorenzen. I think that'll help eat you up some innings. Boyd hasn't pitched much over the past few years. He was kind of mediocre through his first stint with the Tigers. A lot of people thought that Matt Boyd was going to show a lot more signs of greatness than what we got out of him, but he also had some injury issues. But I'm looking forward to see what Mike Lorenzo does. I think that he finally has a chance to be a starter. I think in 2022, again, another guy that was hindered by injuries. He only started, I think, 17 or 18 games, elevated ERA, but small sample size. I'd like to keep the expectations low for these two, with Lorenzen offering the most of these two veterans. But another first rounder, you got Matt Manning coming back, and another guy, Matt Manning. I don't know really where to slot him in here. I don't know where he fits in this rotation. He had some starts where he looked lights out. He had starts where he couldn't find the plate, and he's another guy that can get you, 6 solid innings. He can get you between 5 and 7 strikeouts a game, but he just sometimes he's just hitting the cover off the ball. They can get to him very, very early, and it reminds me kind of of Verlander back in his day, where he could be dominant, but like he could never get over those first 2 innings. I mean, he would give up 2 or 3 runs early, and he couldn't recover from that. But I'm hoping that Matt Manning has a bounce back year. I like another young talent. I think Bo Brisk. I think Bo Brisk is going to be a guy that kind of like Spencer Turnbull as well. Spencer, we know with Bo and Spencer, they round out the rotation. Spencer Turnbull, we saw the no-hitter that he threw a couple years back, and Brisk put up some decent outings. He's a 27th round rookie. Yeah. Like Manning, he didn't produce many strikeouts, just under 6 per 9 inning last year. And as expected, he has a 3.06 ERA at home compared to a 5.05 ERA on the road. So he definitely loves the home ballpark a little bit better than being on the road.
And they moved that fence then.
They moved the fence in a few feet, so that'll be interesting for some of these guys.
Yeah.
But Turnbull is another one that's kind of a wild card. He had kind of a pedestrian showing his first few seasons as a Tiger. As I mentioned, the no-hitter a couple of years back, that brought a lot of attention as opposed to like a lull season. That 2021, we kind of knew that was a season to forget. But again, I think what's going to be elevated for him this year and what I like out of him, his ground ball ratio. I think that's going to be turning some heads. He was shut down after 9 starts due to injury and missed most of 2022 last year. So it'll be interesting to see what we get out of him this year. Like I mentioned, that's going to be a lot of question marks when it comes to this rotation. Again, it's not a horrible rotation. Some people would say, well, it's probably a AAA rotation at best, but it could surprise a lot of people. There's at least 2 or 3 guys I'd have my eye on, and you might see some surprises. But
Michael Bingle says, don't be surprised. They could surprise you, but we'll see. A lot of those guys have a season or 2 under their belt now, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, I think just to kind of stay pat on what these guys can do and kind of hold that position warm until you got Skubal and Mize back. I think that those guys are your future. You hope that they still have a lot left in the tank, especially Mize, because you got so much value in him. And, he obviously was being catered as the best thing since sliced bread when we first drafted him. So you haven't seen the best of Casey Mize. I think that there's still a lot to come, even after Tommy John. Skubal, he's a guy, like I said, he's racking you up anywhere between 8 to 10 strikeouts. He could get you in a game. I mean, he's got a lethal fastball, a lot of good breaking balls behind him too. So I'm excited to see what they can do once they do get brought back from injury. They're going to be a significant part of the future of this team for sure.
Yeah. Well, okay. What's the prediction? How many wins this year? 90?
No.
Oh gosh. No. Well, Vegas right now has them, I think, at 62.5. I would take the slight over on that. I've been going back and forth. There was a part of me just a few months ago before they, the spring training even started, that thought I don't think this team's going to win 62 games, not a chance. I got them going 66 and 96 again. I think that they're going to be right on par from last year.
Really, no improvement, huh?
No, really on paper they're worse off than they were last year. They really are. I hope that we can see a lot of surprises. If we can get some of these young talents out of AAA and brought up here mid-season to see what they can do and create any kind of spark for this team, maybe bringing the outfield wall in a little bit will help some of these guys crank a few more dingers. But I'm not seeing them touch 70 wins this year, unfortunately. I think it's going to be another season where we're kind of hoping for the season to be overcome end of May. But, hey, good news is the tickets will be cheap.
Well, I hope they're at least entertaining. I mean, man, I guess you got to go with Cleveland as a favorite again to win the division, maybe.
Cleveland or Chicago. I think Chicago, they're kind of
twins.
They were
up there.
Yeah, Chicago 500 across the board last year. I think they were 81 and 81. I mean, everything about them, their home record, their road record was like 500. So I mean, they had promised to win that division. Cleveland snatched it from them, but I think that they're a team that can really make some noise. I think they're about 1 or 2 years ahead of their rebuild than we are. And, they should be a team that on paper could win anywhere between 88 and 90 games, and they should be able to run away with the division. But you got Cleveland and you got Minnesota that can also play spoiler. So The Central really is going to be, I think, a 2 to 3 horse race again in a mediocre stance. I don't think you're going to see any team in the Central win beyond 90 games, but it's the worst division out of the entire majors, in my opinion, but I digress on that one. But yeah, the Tigers, just make it interesting, make it entertaining. Don't want to be turning the TV off, in the 4th or 5th inning, but in the games that we do watch. But
and you don't want to cash in your chips in May already.
Yeah, like last year. But I'm a realist when it comes to Detroit sports and all sports in general. But I mean, as a realist in me, I can't see this team winning above 70 games. I think it's going to be a struggle to win 66, but that's my prediction, and I'll stick to that for right now.
All right.
As far as a World Series prediction, before we jump into the Lions, World Series prediction, give me the Dodgers over the Blue Jays this year. I like the moves that the Dodgers make. They're always in it. I know that they've been the odds-on favorite in the NL, especially, next to the Houston Astros. I feel like it's been them 2 teams for the last 5 years. I think the Dodgers are going to get over the hump this year. Finally, they got the right pieces. And I like the moves the Blue Jays made in the offseason. They got a great lethal offense. They got a good pitching staff, good bullpen staff. I think that's going to be your World Series for 2023. Dodgers over the Blue Jays.
Mike, what's your prediction with the Tigers and the World Series?
I'm more optimistic than Derek on the Tigers. I think they win in the low 70s.
Okay.
I'll take that all day.
Yeah.
I hope so. It'd be nice. It would really be nice. I mean,
the change in the scheduling should hurt the Tigers because they'll have less games against the Central Division.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to hurt them.
Did they improve did they increase interleague play this year, Mike? I didn't have a chance to really look at the schedule. I think we are playing more interleague teams.
You play every team
Wow.
in baseball.
That's right. That's right. I do remember.
You only got 13 games instead of 18 or 19 against your division opponents.
That's right.
What do you think about these changes? The bigger bases and the pitch clock?
Oh yeah, we didn't even get into that yet. You mean the Manfred clock?
Yeah, the Manfred clock.
Well, anything that speeds this game up has got to help the fans.
I will agree there, Mike. I'm not a fan of baseball being 3.5 to 4 hours. I think it's the one sport that doesn't belong in that kind of a time category. I think a baseball game, your rivalry games, a lot of people would argue, oh, they'd love to see a Boston New York game go for 3.5 to 4 hours, especially if it's a sluggers matchup. But the average baseball game should not be exceeding 3 hours, in my opinion. These guys do take way too long, I think, at the plate, adjusting their jock straps, their crotches, their helmets, their sweat dripping on their brow. I mean, I think the clock is a little rushed. I think it's a little bit intense. I think you should maybe bump it up 5 more seconds. I mean, it's been getting a lot of hate in preseason so far in spring training, but I need to see it on paper in the actual regular season. I think you're going to see a lot of people, upset fans, are going to be calling in saying, "Oh, the Tigers should have won that game. They let their clock run out. They shouldn't even have got a pitch off. That guy should have been struck out or whatever." But I think it's going to create a lot of controversy. I think there's going to be a lot of hate on it. I think people will be adjusted to it. They'll get used to it, I think, midway through the season. But I think it's going to definitely turn more heads than it's going to do good for the game, just because of how sped up it really is. I mean, it's almost like they went way, way, way too extreme with it to begin with. I think it should be increased to maybe 15 seconds. I think where was it at right now? 7, 8 seconds?
Yeah.
Batter has to be in the box by 8 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, it's an odd number to start with, but I think 15 seconds is probably more than enough time. I think that's a good start with it. I think they might reassess it by the end of the season. I don't think you can change it during the season, but I think after this year they'll go back to the drawing board and see how much hate it really gets. But I mean, I'm okay with speeding up the game. I just think that 8 seconds is a little bit harsh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you get tired of every pitch. The batter is getting out of the box. Yeah. Like you say, he's walking around. He's adjusting all this stuff.
Yeah, but adjusting on his gloves and
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I think another thing that's going to help baseball is disallowing these extreme shifts on defense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Making the players play more, upright in their normal positions instead of having a infielder playing in shallow right field or something like that.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I'm not a fan of the ghost runner at second base. I think that that was something that that first was the idea to speed up the game, and I think a lot of people were behind that. But that runner didn't do anything to earn that right to be on second base. I mean, it's almost like a 3-on-3 in hockey, even though that's more
out in the inning before.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's how you look at it. I guess it definitely speeds up the extra innings. It definitely makes extra innings a little bit more tight and entertaining. But I don't know. I think that the ghost runner doesn't really do it for me. But
I hated seeing these 15, 18 inning games.
Oh yeah, I know. In playoffs, I feel like maybe rules need to be adjusted though between the playoffs and the regular season.
That's a possibility.
I think maybe you can have it. I mean, having it during the regular season, makes sense. But maybe in the playoffs, you can get rid of it. But I digress.
All right. Well, that's enough of the Tigers. You don't think they'll make the playoffs then?
Oh God, no. I mean, I'll eat my hat if they do. I'll eat my hat if they win over 75 games. I would eat my hat. I mean, this team, if they can pull off some kind of miracle, I don't think that the Avila curse is going to leave you that quickly.
Right.
That takes some time.
All right. Well, moving on to the Lions. They've been busy, signed some free agents. They lost Jamal to the Saints, but they picked up David Montgomery and Sutton.
Yeah, Cam Sutton. Cam Sutton coming over from Pittsburgh. I think that and automatically making a huge significant splash. I like the deal you got, and there it is right there, John Kaminsky. That's another big deal too to re-sign him. Yeah. They're re-signing the right guys. The only one I wasn't a huge fan of was the Alex Anzalone deal. I feel like that the money that they paid for him was a little bit out of desperation. I don't think you can't make that guy a starter on any other team, I feel like, than the Lions. He did have a great year. Don't take that away from him. But the money that he was demanding, the money that they paid him, I don't think it didn't slot in right with me. I feel like he could have probably accepted less money. I think he could have got a little bit more for less money. But, I mean, again, he was a shining star on this team, and we got to live with it now. But, yeah, I love the Cam Sutton deal. 3 years, $33 million. 22.5 guaranteed. I think that's great. That was your biggest need on this roster. I think a lot of people were expecting the Lions to maybe even look at drafting a cornerback in the first or second round. Mm-hmm. But already, it's funny, at 28 years old, he's already now the second oldest player on this Lions roster behind Taylor Decker, who's 30. So, that's great. But yeah, I mean,
Montgomery, he in 60 career games, Montgomery's accumulated 3,609 yards, 26 touchdowns on the ground. To go with 3.9 yards per carry. He's a young guy. He'll be 26 when he starts the season.
And that's the key word right there. He's a young guy, and he's also 2 years younger than Jamal Williams. And I think a lot of Lions fans, now you know me, I'm not a diehard Lions fan by any means. They're starting to turn the corner for me. I'm starting to get more invested because of what they've been doing over the last year. But David Montgomery, after I saw what they got for him, and obviously what Jamal Williams was wanting, what he was demanding, he got too big for his britches. I feel like after his record-breaking or record-tying season, he did demand more money. The average Lions fan, or maybe the not-so-smart Lions fan, might be thinking, well, Jamal Williams, he's a great personality. He's a great call. He screams Detroit Lions culture. I think that they looked beyond his. I think the stats were a little bit elevated for what he really is. He is a goal line back. He's a guy that you utilized him in the right way. He was behind an amazing offensive line last year. Never had hit, but I think before last year, I think 8 or 9 touchdowns was his career high. But, again, we utilized him properly, but he's not going to get that. I think if when he goes over to New Orleans, I don't think he's going to get nowhere near that. But
let's face it, Montgomery's going to have a much better offensive line in front of him.
And here's the other thing, too, is that he's been playing with the Bears for the last 6 years. You got to remember, before they drafted Justin Fields, David Montgomery was the bulk of that offense. But he's also a guy that's got grit. He can block. He can be used as a decoy in the backfield. He does a lot more than Jamal Williams, I think, did in his first year and only year with the Lions. But I like it. I think that overall on paper, and I think overall solidly, he's the better option, and you're going to get way more out of him for the price that you paid for him. And he's only going to make this team better behind Swift. I think when you platoon those two, and the fact that he can catch the ball, I'm excited to see what David Montgomery can do for this offense. And I think that you've addressed a lot of things right there. And yeah, Jamal Williams he made you kind of force your hand on having to make that deal, but
right
at the end of the day, I don't think that he was worth that money that he was asking, and I think he got about $3.5 million more with New Orleans than what we paid David Montgomery. So at the end, you save some money.
Yep. Yeah, I forgot they signed Glasgow too. They brought him back today.
Yeah, they brought Glasgow back. I think that was another need that had to be addressed. Again, you had to bring back the guys that were the shining stars on this team, and not to take a step back. I mean, this team is only going to move forward. I like that, with him coming back as what he was as a free agent. I don't think a lot of people were expecting us to maybe bring him back, but he is happy to be back on this team, and it is a 1-year deal, and sometimes things just make sense, and I'm happy with it. We have the cap space.
13 wins. 13 wins, he's saying.
It's not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, they are right now. Vegas is picking them as the odds-on favorite by a mile to win the NFC North. This is honestly, yeah, Green Bay. I mean, Jordan Love time is there in Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers is going to the Jets. It's pretty much a done deal. You got a lot of room to move up in this NFC North, and it's really yours for the taking. This is not a year for the wild card to sneak in. You can't use the same title excuse. Well, we started off slow. We got to bounce back after a bad loss. You can't use that excuse anymore. 2023 is the year for the Lions right now to take that giant leap. You got to win. I mean, right now expectations are beyond 11 wins to win this NFC North. I think you got to go 11 and at least 11-6 to make that splash and to finally host a home playoff game. That's really what your year-end goal is, and I'm optimistic. I think that they have the pieces right now, as it sits right now, to compete and to make a run.
Yep, got to stay healthy.
Yep.
When's the last time you saw a Lions free agent say, "I want to play for the Lions"? And
Montgomery was quoted. He's like, "You're salivating a little bit over here just to join these guys and play behind the high-powered offensive line." It's just the pieces are right. I mean, we laughed at Dan Campbell, when he came on board with this team 3 years ago, and the bite in the kneecaps and just. You're talking about an inexperienced coach that, he's coming over from the Dolphins and it was with that organization for a couple of years and was molded over there. And now the plan has finally come together. He's acquired the proper staff. Everybody's playing for him. They're playing for this coaching staff. I think they got about 87 years of coaching between everybody on this coaching staff.
Yeah.
And the wheels are turning, and I just think that the culture is now it's in their wheelhouse, and they're taking everything right now, and they're not looking back. I mean, they really want to play here, and we're making this a sought after football town, and we've not seen that not in my lifetime. I mean, it's been years.
Yeah,
maybe since the early 90s.
I see it in my lifetime, but I'm 80 years old.
Yep. So, I mean, the SOL days, I'm not going to say that SOL is completely dead, but I think that right now with what Dan Campbell has done, the culture of this team is just it's really that gritty Detroit hardworking culture that we've been striving for over the last several decades. And it's really something to see, and it's exciting. It makes me want to go to games. It makes me want to tune in and be invested in this team. And I'm not going to go on a limb and buy a Lions jersey anytime soon, but don't get your World Series tickets yet. But I think that this is not World Series, Super Bowl, I should say.
Right.
But I think that this is a team that needs to win this division to prove something.
Yeah, I agree.
They have the best chance of being a champion of any of our Detroit teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see that last year. At this time last year, I was probably saying it was between the Red Wings and the Tigers for the next team to win a championship. The Red Wings last won it in 2008. That was our last championship in the city of Detroit. Never would have thought we'd be going this long without a championship in this town, but who would have thought the Lions would be next in line potentially?
Yeah, nice segue into the Wings. Well, Dan Campbell's got to be happy, so hopefully we'll see a champion someday. All right, we got the Red Wings. They signed the captain. That was good.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think you met in the middle around $8.5 million. He wanted $9 million. You signed him, I think, for what was it, 8.5, 8.6. And I mean, you kind of had to make the move. I mean, the guy's been playing. He's been having another potentially career year at the end of the year, and the team is pretty much out of the playoff chase at this point. They showed a flash in the pan that they might be able to make it into the wild card, but they've fallen off drastically over the last couple of weeks. But I still like they made the step in the right direction this year. I think you've shaved another year off of this rebuild. I think next year with that cap space and the moves that Yzerman made to now acquire these higher first-round draft picks, you're going to stash these draft picks and use those as trade capital come next year to hopefully acquire those free agents with that extra cap space. So you need a proven goal scorer. You need to find a second-line center. I think you still need to find that guy that can score you 40 goals consistently. Dylan Larkin can't do it all on his own. I don't think he's going to touch 40 goals, but you need help now. You got rid of Tyler Bertuzzi. You've made some strides at you got your goaltender for the future. I love Ville Husso. I didn't really expect a lot out of him this year, but you also need a solid backup.
He's hot and cold.
What's that?
He's hot and cold too. The goalie.
Who's that?
He's more hot than he is cold.
Oh, you're talking about Husso?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think really the problem with Husso is that he's burnt out. I think because you have no real backup, you're playing Husso 65 games this year. I mean, you got Hellberg, who's really junk. You got a young core that's down there in the minors that they're not ready to come up yet. But I think that Husso's a guy that's he's made himself a proven entity here at starting in Detroit, and I think that looking for the future, I like what I see out of him. I think he's not quite hit his ceiling, but I think he's a guy that can win you probably between 30 and 35 games. If you get the right defensive core in front of them, I think that's a problem too, is that the defense is still kind of a ways away from really being elite. I think that you've made some gains this year, but you still got a long way to go. And you got to sign a couple more valuable free agents in the offseason to really make that legit playoff run. I mean, we were close this year and it was entertaining. I mean, I will say that I wouldn't consider this season to be a failure by any means by the Red Wings. I mean, you keep on you keep hating to say now next year. There's always next year. There's always next year. But I trust the eyes. I trust the Yzer plan. I trust what he's done, and I think that we are now, from the moves that he's made at the trade deadline, the fact that we were such big sellers. I feel like now, stocking up on that draft capital, we're going to probably end up drafting our next big star. That's what I think we might end up doing. I think that you're probably going to see this team make a big leap next year as far as signing a good potential free agent. It has to be a center. And I think you need to get one more defenseman, and then you might be ready to compete for a legit playoff spot next year.
Well, I'll tell you, when they got rid of Bertuzzi, Larkin was not happy, and I really think that affected him. I really think
the whole team.
Well, you got to realize too that hockey, NHL is a business. It's not personal. Kind of like same thing with Jamal Williams. I mean, you can be a great guy, you can be a great friend, a great teammate, but at the end of the day, he was a guy that I think you had to kind of get that payroll off the books, and I think that he was holding back this team a little bit from making some bigger moves. Hesse Michael Bengal says he thinks he'll be a bust in Boston. I think anybody can be a superstar in Boston right now. That team is just insane right now. Yeah. They're already on pace to break the Red Wings record from 96 and 62 wins. But I don't know. I think that Bertuzzi, I'm happy, that he's going to possibly win himself a cup. They are the odds-on favorite by a mile. I don't think they're going to win a cup this year. I think they are going to get a little bit cold down the stretch, and I think that Carolina might upset them in the conference final, but I might be wrong there. I don't know. I mean, I've always liked Tyler Bertuzzi, but at the same time, I think that he just didn't exceed the expectations that I think a lot of people set for him for the future. Never really got over that hump. Obviously, the COVID shot thing, not being able to play in Canada for that short time, kind of hurt some of his stock. And then he had some injuries. He couldn't stay healthy. He broke one finger, then he broke the right hand, left hand. He just kept getting injured, and he couldn't stay healthy. Couldn't keep him on the ice. So I think at the end of the day, it was the right move for Yzerman to move Tyler, and I wish him all the best. And I think he's probably going to end up finding a permanent home over there in Boston.
There's really they're not into enforcers anymore, are they? Like when they had Probert and McCarthy and all them.
No, I mean, and that's another thing too, is that Bertuzzi, I mean, you kind of look at him, well, he had the look of a gritty guy, but we don't really have any of that. We don't have we don't have that protection.
No.
I hate it. I hate Brad Marchand, but the guy, he's another guy that you kind of want to have in your corner because he is dirty to an extent, but he scores your goals. He sticks up for all of his high powered offensive guys, and he will fight you. And we need that on this team. I mean, I really believe that once we do find that enforcer on this team, the guy that can, get you maybe 10 to 15 goals a year, but can also lay the body down on the forecheck. That's what we're lacking. We're lacking that toughness.
Yeah, we definitely are lacking. We definitely need it. So you think after 4 years of Yzerman, they're doing better and they're going to get better?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God, yeah. I think that they made extreme strides in these last 4 years under Yzerman. I think that, and how he's robbed some of these other GMs of their draft picks and just the moves that he makes at the trade deadline and what he's done in the offseason. The guy has really done a great job. He turned around Tampa Bay in less than 5 years over there, made them into a multiple-time Cup contender champion. I trust him all the way to the bitter end. I think this team, I'd say next year will be a playoff or bust season. I'll say that right here and right now. I think in 2 years you're going to be looking at potential long-term Cup contender. But right now, I mean, he has to continue making the right moves to better this team and for the right price too, because you have still a lot of cap space to play around with in the offseason. So
And what do you think about our coach?
Oh, I love Derek. Derek Lalonde's a great guy, not just for the name, but I think that he fits this he fits this team right. I mean, he really has, and he came over from Tampa Bay. He worked under Yzerman before,
Yeah.
and I think that they do want to play for him. He doesn't have the voice of a true leader, I guess you could say. I mean, but what coach have we really had that's been that fired up? I mean, we don't have like a guy like Tortorella or somebody like that that's going to fire these guys up. But I think that his plan works, and they execute properly under his guidance and his leadership. And I like him. I like him right now, and I think that he's taking this team into the right direction.
All right.
It's an improvement,
folks.
Oh, vast improvement.
Yeah. All right. A little bit about NASCAR. It's the 75th anniversary.
Yeah, I mean it's been a great season to start off with. I think obviously if you're a Hendrick Motorsports fan, it's been kind of, I don't know, feast or famine. With Chase Elliott getting injured in a non-racing accident, that was a big blow to the sport's most popular driver, and he'll probably be out for the next 5 or 6 weeks, and that's unfortunate. Snowboarding accident, but you got Josh Berry filling in for him. He got his first top 10 last week, and that was great. But then again, you're now in the news for the heaviest fine against one team in the sport's history, over $400,000 in fines.
Crazy. And points.
Yeah. Yep. $100,000 to each of the crew chiefs, 4 race suspensions for the quartet, docked the drivers 100 regular season points and 10 playoff points apiece. So that dropped all the Hendrick drivers right now are outside the playoff cut line. So
that's crazy. And they've been dominating so far. It's
pretty unprecedented. So all over hood louvers. I mean, I never thought that I would, ever see this, but because I think that they are manufactured parts that the teams need to abide by, they're already been manufactured by the vendors. I think that was one of the biggest no-nos that NASCAR was going to tell these teams. Like, if there's one rule that you're not going to bend, it's these manufactured parts. And these cars are more equal than they've ever been, because you're actually getting them from purveyors. And I don't know. I know Hendrick said they're going to appeal it. Obviously, they feel like they were dealt a bad deal here, but I don't think it's going to get overturned. I think you might maybe get the fines lowered a little bit, but I think the points are going to stay pat for sure.
Well, they're lucky it happened so early in the season. They still have time to move
up. Rebound. Yeah,
it's going to be tough, man. Make up all them points.
Yeah. So right now, as I'm reading this article, they say that the louvers were provided teams, obviously through NASCAR's mandated single source purveyor. They don't match the design submitted by the manufacturer and approved by NASCAR. That's what they said in this article. It's documented.
What Hendrick do? Go to a second party, third party, or what?
I don't think he went to another party. I think that they made some unapproved adjustments to the louvers that, obviously if they're a manufactured part, and they come from a single source supplier, you can't tamper these. You can't adjust these parts. So I think that they were illegally altered in some way, shape, or form by the team, and it was on every single Hendrick car. So obviously Chase Elliott won't be affected in the point wise. He's probably going to get his waiver. I'm assuming he's going to get his waiver. So, but we'll see. Yeah, I mean he should. If Kyle Busch can get a waiver, I know it was in a racing accident, but I think getting his waiver, even though it was off the track, it should get approved. I think everybody would agree it should grant approval from NASCAR. But we'll probably see him back in May sometime around there. But yeah, I mean NASCAR's made it very, very clear in the past that, especially with this new car, all these unapproved parts, all these changes, can't be doing that. So
right. Okay. All right. Well, finally, we'll go down to the Final Four. Did you fill in your bracket yet?
Yeah, my bracket got busted today earlier with that Virginia loss. I couldn't believe that to Furman. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, unreal. But it happened actually 5 years ago to this day. They lost to St. Mary's in a lot worse fashion than they did today by Furman. But I don't know, man. That's why it's March Madness.
Well, let me tell you my Final Four. These are my Final Four. I got Houston, Alabama, Purdue, and UCLA. Purdue's a long shot, I think.
Oh, Purdue, they're not great. Yeah, they're not too good in March. I know that Purdue is a team that's they've kind of been an early exit in previous March Madness tournaments before. So I think I had them out in the Sweet 16. I think I had them making the Sweet 16 but getting eliminated. But
Okay.
I got Baylor versus Gonzaga in my championship. So
Really?
yeah, I didn't go with the favorites this year. So I went with a 3 seed versus a 4 seed.
I kind of think Houston's going to take it, but I'm probably wrong.
Houston. I picked Houston to win last year. They were, I think, a 1st or 2nd seed, and they got eliminated in the Sweet 16 last year. So
Yep.
they're another team that they could be inconsistent as well. But
anything can happen, right? You never know.
Exactly.
That's what makes it March Madness.
Yep.
Mike, who you like?
Oh, jeez. I have no
Follow
idea who's going to win this thing.
No.
No.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to be Michigan State.
No.
Michigan State. No, I don't even have them making the Sweet 16. Everybody's been, I got a guy at work that chirps about Michigan State. I don't see that team making it to the Sweet 16.
No,
Izzo's just the passion I see out of Izzo, just not having these guys prepared. The last few games of the season, I don't see it. I don't see it materializing for State.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. All right. Well, hey, I want to thank you again for coming on tonight. You're always welcome back anytime.
Oh yeah, for sure. Had fun.
All right. Sounds good, man. You guys, you take care and say hi to Rachel and get some rest.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was a pleasure. See you guys next time. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye. All right. That's always a good show. He knows his sports, that's for sure, huh? All right, let's get Joe Bartley in here now with some tax talk for you, and then we're going to close out the show with Mike. We got quite a few events going on, so stand by for Joe Bartley.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another Tax Talk with Joe Bartley from J&J Taxes and More. So we are 1 month approximately from the April 15th due date, even though this year it's actually April 18th, but we don't want to say that because we don't want to wait till the last minute. But so if you haven't at least made your appointment, you really need to get that done. I know for me and some of my colleagues I have spoken to, appointments are really filling up fast. So if you haven't made that appointment yet, you need to go ahead and do it. And just keep in mind, even if you are going to owe, and you're going to owe, you can always wait until the last minute to actually send in the money if you want. And of course, you can always work out a payment plan if you owe too. But hopefully that's not the situation. But you need to get in and get it done. Just a few things that have been announced recently. The IRS has said that IRA owners who turn 72 in 2023 will not be required to do a required minimum distribution or RMD. They're looking at kicking that back. The next few years, you may see that go even further. So keep an eye out for that. The other thing that's been in the news for us people here in Michigan is the Michigan pension exclusion. So there's a lot of good things going on that's going to help people that are on pensions. Now, this is going to be a gradual. It's not a all at once type thing. So it's going to be spread out over a few years. So as soon as I get the details, I will post it on the J&J Taxes and More Facebook page, and I'll mention it here on the show too. As soon as we get the details, things are still getting ironed out, and I don't want to give any incorrect information quite yet. So, that's a couple of good things that are good for the retirees. May help the pocketbook a little bit. So hopefully that will help. Again, I'm Joe Bartley from J&J Taxes and More, located right in downtown Garden City, 29217 Ford Road, Suite 104. The best way to get a hold of me is through my email, which is joe@jnjtaxesandmore.com, or you can call the office at 734-523-8291. Please remember, if I don't answer, just leave a message, as I usually don't answer the phone if I have clients with me. So, all right. Thanks a lot, and y'all have a great week.
All right, good info. Every little bit helps for the retirees, that's for sure. It's about time, eh? Okay, moving on. The next city council meeting is March 20th at 7 p.m. in the council chambers located at 6,000 Middlebelt Road. These council meetings are a good way for you to get involved and voice any concerns that you may have as well. All right, let's get to community announcements with Mike. So stand by.
Well, that'll
be the day.
you say goodbye. Yes, that'll
be the
Okay, it's time for some community announcements. So let's get Mike in here. Mike,
It's like it'll be the day when I die.
All right, here we go. First one.
Okay, Meals on Wheels still needs volunteers. You
Yes.
can apply at the Maplewood Center, 31735 Maplewood, or call 734-793-7874. Tech Talk with Julie, still going on for another month or so. Free tech assistance, one-on-one appointments, Monday evenings from 6 to 8. Next one will be April 3rd. And you can call to set up an appointment between 10 and 12 on Thursday morning for March 23rd and 30th.
Yep.
April 6th was that 13th, 20th, and 27th.
Right.
Sharing Coffee, the Notary Babe, has Notary Public Services. You can do things mobile. You can do things virtual. She's also a loan signing agent. Contact her at 734-469-8821.
Yeah, I wanted to mention a few people in there watching tonight. Patty Fix is in there. Also, Kathy Ward, our number one fan. Shannon Coffee is in there, and hope you're feeling better, Shannon. She's been pretty sick. Also, Michael Bingle's in there, and a few others are in there that I cannot see who they are. Thanks for watching.
Okay, a Poet Linen Drive. Give the gift of warmth and comfort to a dog in need from March 5th through April 30th at the Sports Venue Bar and Grill. We're collecting clean towels, blankets, and comforters for the DACC. Sports Venue is having a St. Patrick's Day
Party,
I guess. Yeah, wow. Two more due, $4 Killians, $6 Guinness bombs, Irish music. This will be tomorrow, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day. Bar opens at 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. Kitchen room from 10 a.m. to midnight. They have corned beef and cabbage dinners, which I had tonight, shepherd's pie, and other Irish favorites.
Yum.
At 9 o'clock.
9. Wow.
Daddy and daughter dance over at the Radcliffe Center. Invite you to an elegant evening of dinner and dancing. Now that's going to be this Saturday from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. It's $20 a person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sideshow and versus the Glass City Rollers at the Riverside Arena this Saturday. Tickets are $15. It's a country music sideshow and roller derby.
Wow.
That'd be exciting.
Yeah, that is.
Plymouth Canton Music Boosters are having a spring arts and crafts show. 100% of all proceeds directly support the PCEP bond proposal. Admission is $5 a person. Children under 12 are free. That's going to be this Saturday, March 18th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Plymouth High School. which is located at 8400 North Beck Road in Canton.
Wow.
Okay, this is a little hard to read.
Spring mini camp.
Spring Music Camp, Saturday. This Saturday again. God, you can do about 12 different things.
A lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, from 11:30 to 1:30, it's $20. Register online at eclipseandcollective.com or call 313-204-0581. This will be at 32564 Warren Road in Westland.
St. Thomas still going.
Yep. The world famous fish fry going on through Good Friday until April 7th. They're open from 4:30 to 7. It's at 31530 Beechwood.
Yeah.
It's north of Ford Road at Merriman. Great dinners, friends, and desserts. They have a wide-ranging menu that should appeal to anybody. The time is here for 23-24 kindergarten registration for Garden City Schools. March 25th from 5:30 to 7. March 22nd. March 23rd from 9:30 to 12. April 11th from 5:30 to 7. April 12th from 9:30 to 1:30. And May 19th from 9:30 to 4:30.
A lot of stuff going on.
Coats for Kids campaign. You can make a difference in someone's life for as little as a $25 donation. This is an event that is being sponsored. I can't read that fine print. All donations are matching dollar for dollar. Your $25 donation will be turned into a $50 donation, allowing us to purchase 2 warm weather coats. Donate today. Dog Vaccination Day in Westland. Low-cost dog vaccinations and microchips and licenses. They're free to Westland veterans. It's going to be on Saturday, March 25th from 10 to 2. Westland Car Towing is sponsoring that.
Mm-hmm.
The Notre Dame Social Club has a variety of events, including a Peter Cottontail workshop on March 25th from 11 to 5. There's free photos. Kids of all ages are welcome. There'll be free crafts and meal deals, free entry. This is going to be at the Notre Dame Lounge Hall at 3144 South Wayne Road in downtown Wayne.
A lot of Easter stuff coming up.
Hey, our state representative, Dylan Wagilla, says, join me for a coffee hour on Monday, March 27th at the Leanna Hicks Public Library, 2500 Hamlin Drive in Inkster. You can contact him at 517-373-618?
3818.
3818.
Yep.
Craft Day and Easter Bunny Flower Pot at the garden, sponsored by Garden City Parks and Recreation. So be at the Radcliffe Center, $10 admission. All ages are welcome. That's at 1751 Radcliffe Street. And you can contact them at 734-793-1850. Westland Chamber of Commerce is pleased to announce an exciting opportunity to showcase your business at the 2023 Health and Business Expo. Easter Vendor Craft Show, April 2nd from 11 to 4. Let's see, this is going to be at the VFW Post 3323 Harrison Caver, 1055 South Wayne Road in Westland. There will be over 40 vendors with food trucks, raffles, and more.
Wow. A lot of Easter stuff coming up.
Yep. Easter egg hunt, Saturday, April 8th, sponsored by Garden City Parks and Recreation. I think this is taking place at the Ball Diamonds. Yeah.
Right.
There'll be 3 different age groups, 3 and under, 4 or 6, and 7 to 10. Search for over 12,000 eggs.
Ooh. Wow.
Okay. Neighborhood Watch, next meeting is April 11th. It will be at the Garden City Police Department. They have these the second Tuesday of every month at 7 p.m. Don't get scammed. Learn how not to be a victim of scams, utility worker impersonations, pigeon drops. What exactly are pigeon drops? I know what I'm thinking, but I don't think that's it.
I don't know.
Police impersonators and computer and phone scams. That's conducted by retired Sergeant Robert M. Haig of the Detroit Police Department. It's free to all classes are free of charge, and it's going to be on April 12th at 6 p.m. in the Garden City Public Library.
No, that'd be interesting.
Yeah. Worthwhile.
Yeah.
Next Mayor's Forum is going to be April 12th at 5 p.m. in the City Council chambers. So talk openly, share opinions, ask burning questions. It's open discussion, free and open to the public.
Yeah, hopefully you get some answers.
Yeah. Jewelry making at the Garden City Senior Center presents jewelry making with Angie's Adornments. A $10 registration fee is on the second Thursday of every month, starting April 13th from 11 to 12 at the Radcliffe Center, ages 18 and up. Ah, yes.
Big one.
The 6th annual Great Pig Race, April 15th. Doors open at 6, post time at 7. Tickets are $20. They should be available by the end of next week. It'll be at St. Thomas the Apostle, 31530 Beechwood and Garden City. It'll be food, fun, basket raffles, 50-50 raffles, a cash bar. Come and bet on your favorite pig to win. We have 35 pigs registered so far.
Oh, wow.
One more to have 6 heats.
Wow. Don't forget the Chatmeister, everybody.
All right, that's the one you want to bet on. Okay.
Right.
Okay, let me get this crap. It's blocking my screen off if I can. Oh, jeez. Vast security. Jeez, Pete.
What happened?
Oh, I got it. I think it came on and was blocking the screen, telling me I needed to update my vast security on my computer.
Yeah.
Moeller Field Spring Cleanup will take place on April 15th from 10 to 2. GCYA, along with the City of Garden City, is hosting another Moeller Field Cleanup Day. Overgrown trees, shrubs, curling fencing, weed trimming, and trash pickup are just a couple of targeted ideas. They need volunteers, obviously. Friends of Garden City Public Library is having a used book sale on Wednesday, April 19th from 9 to 7 and Thursday, April 20th from 9 to 5:30, located at the Garden City Radcliffe Center, 1751 Radcliffe Street, Garden City. Garden City Senior Center is having a jukebox bingo, played with regular bingo, but with music.
Something different.
Yeah, hosted by Digital Mix Entertainment. It's going to be on Wednesday, April 26th from 1 to 3 at the Radcliffe Center. Cost is $8.
Yeah, that's cool.
Mother's Day celebration at the Garden City Senior Center on Friday, May 12th from 12 to 3. Tickets are $20. There'll be live music, a weekend comeback, catered lunch. Kathy's Catering, who does our Kiwanis lunches, giveaways, 50-50 raffle. You can also get Mother's Day geraniums. It's Friday, May 5th, from 10 to 2.
Yep.
Lucky Squirrel Flea Market. First one will be Saturday, May 20th from 10 to 3 at Ford Road and Middlebelt Town Center Plaza. They have huge turnouts for those.
Mm-hmm.
Westland Farmers Market, Farmers and Artesian Market, opens May 25th, runs to October 12th from 3 to 7 p.m. on Thursdays.
Yeah. Looking for vendors.
On August 3rd for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Wayne Open Air Farmers and Artesian Markets every Wednesday at the Notre Dame Hall starting May 31st, 3144 South Wayne Road in downtown Wayne. Is a big event. 22nd Annual Autos for Autism Car Show will be on Monday, June 19th from 4 to 9. They're back at the Garden City Middle School, 1851 Radcliffe near Ford Road in Wildwood. Live music by Bonnie and the Working Girls, plus special guests. Working in food by R&J Smoked Meats. Merchandise, raffles, motorcycles are welcome. Carrie and I will be there. Carrie's going to hold out to be a judge, and I'll just probably tallying these votes.
There you go. It's a good time for sure. Big. All right.
I got a couple of things.
Okay.
The Straight Farmhouse is a good location if you want to have a graduation party.
Right.
And we're having one a week from Saturday for my grandson.
Really?
He's graduating from U of M Dearborn.
Wow. Congrats.
Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. U of M. Go blue.
Yep. Garden City High School is presenting Alice in Wonderland, but I don't have any details on that.
Yeah, nothing on that yet.
We talked about the fish fry. We talked about the home pantry.
Don't forget to pick up your Rec Connect magazine. You can get it probably at the Ice Arena Parks and Rec. Also, the marketplace for this month.
I think you can get it at City Hall too.
Yeah, City Hall. I did want to mention Camp Garden City is going to start June 19th through August 18th, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Garden City Parks. They're going to play games, make crafts, go on weekly field trips. They will be closed on July the 4th, though, but you're going to want to register real quick. Get a hold of the Garden City Parks and Rec.
Garden City Business Alliance is sponsoring Music in the Park.
Yep.
June 15th, July 20th, and August 17th. There'll be a vendor show from 4 to 9 and music from 6:30 to 9.
Yeah, 3 different bands, too.
Yep. That's an entertaining night, typically.
Yeah, that is fun. Usually, knock on wood, we've had great weather, too.
Yeah, it's important. Thrift shop is open Mondays through Thursdays from 9 to 2. What else have I got here? We got
Wow,
TikTok with Julie. Lincoln Transit is offering their $3 rides. There's a ton of programs going on at the Garden City Library.
Yeah. Also, Straight Farmhouse has a lot of stuff going on.
Yep.
Go to straightfarmhouse.org. Check out their events.
That's all I see from the marketplace.
Okie dokie.
I don't know if there's anything Mother and Son Dance at the Radcliffe Center on May 13th from 6 to 8.
Okay.
Parents' night out at Radcliffe Center.
Yeah, that's
Drop
all
the kids off, and the parents can have an actual adult evening.
right. Quiet evening.
Yeah, they had pizza, movies, games, and arts and crafts for children 5 to 11.
Mhm.
$20 for a child, $10 for a sibling. An ice cream social and bingo at the senior center on July 11th.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on coming up.
Yeah,
Going to get busy.
some of these things are later on in the summer, so
Yeah, as we get
we can
closer.
hold off on those.
Right.
I guess that's it.
Okay. Good job.
Thank
All right,
you.
once again, we are always looking for guests to be on the show. If you're interested or you know someone that might be interested, we'd love to hear from you. It's very easy. Just email us at gccommunitychat@gmail.com or message us on Facebook. Doesn't matter what community you live in. We want to hear from you. We are doing the shows remotely, so you can do them from the comfort of your home or office. Come on the show and share your information with us and the surrounding communities. Contact us today, and we look forward to hearing from you. And speaking of guests, for the rest of March, next week on March 23rd, we have a very important show for all parents of kids in school. Demita Dubois will be here, and we're going to talk about school bullying and child support.
Oh gosh, yes.
She is a 15-year probation agent with Wayne County, and will also answer any questions that you might have. You might be a good idea to have your kids tune in that night too and watch it with you.
Yeah.
And finally, rounding out the month of March, on March 30th, Mary Gills McLaughlin will be here to talk about her recent teaching adventure in Alaska. She was there, I think, for 8 weeks.
Hopefully during the summer.
Yeah. Yeah. They're having a hard time getting teachers there in Alaska, and they're making
I wonder why.
they're making deals that you can't refuse. I'll tell you that. She'll be back home in Arkansas, and she'll be telling her story, which is quite interesting, and you don't want to miss it. And then going into April, on April 20th, our guest will be Kelly Bailey, who started Garden City Gives a Boot. She collects donated new and gently used books for our homeless veterans. She'll be here to tell us all about it, and she will be at the Lucky Squirrel events as well. And seeing as we're in April, I just want to share with you that on April 6th, there will be no chat that night, as I will be having knee surgery that day. I
Good
have
luck with that.
3 tears in my meniscus that they have to repair, so I'll be down that day, but we'll be back the following week. So there you go. Get these on your calendars, and we hope you'll join us live.
Can I make a plug for the Kiwanis and Key Club?
What's that?
Can I make a plug for the Kiwanis and Key Club?
Yeah, absolutely.
Last Saturday, in a Kids Against Hunger program,
Yeah.
we had 75 participants, and
Wow.
we packed up 10,000 meals
Are you kidding me?
for hungry kids.
That's got to be a record.
About an hour and a half took us.
Wow. That's amazing.
We had volunteers from the Kiwanis, from the Key Club, from the National Honor Society. We had parents coming in, bringing their elementary kids even
Oh,
to help
that's
do
neat.
this thing. It was really great.
Yeah, get them involved in that, you know.
Yeah,
Mrs. Chat says good night all. Happy St. Patrick's Day, and stay safe, everyone. Yep.
yeah.
And with that said, Mike, I think we're ready to call this a podcast.
Podcast.
Yes.
It's a long one.
Yeah, it was. We want to thank Derek Partin for coming on and talking sports with us. Always good to have him on. And big thanks to our fantastic co-hosts, meteorologist Dr. Tom Iwinski and Mike Jones. Great job as always. Mike, you have any final thoughts before we go?
No, I just do my traditional end of the broadcast thing saying we want everybody to get vaccinated,
Yeah.
both flu and COVID, so we
Yep.
can get this thing under control and out of our lives.
Yep. Yep. Also, a huge thank you to each and every one of you for sharing part of your time with us tonight. I know it was a long one. This May, we're going to be celebrating 13 years on the air, and we couldn't do it
Wow.
without you, so big thank you. Also, don't forget this show will be available right after we sign off tonight on Facebook. So we hope that you'll catch it later at your convenience, especially if you tuned in late tonight by going to facebook.com/GC chat. And feel free to share that show with your friends as well. Also, catch us over on our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and search for GC Community Chat. You'll find not only this show, but all of our past shows as well. And please subscribe to the channel by clicking on the subscribe button. We would appreciate that. And as we do at the end of all of our shows, we want to thank all the healthcare workers and first responders, police and fire, everyone on the front lines who serve and protect us every day. We can't thank you enough. Be safe, and we want you to know that you and your families are in our thoughts and prayers every day. And whenever you see any of these heroes, please let them know how much you appreciate them. Also, I wanted to mention Captain Steve Ray from the Garden City Fire Department contacted me today. They got their new ladder truck, their new fire. It's beautiful. You can see it on Facebook. He's also going to be coming on the show next month, and we'll showcase that. So looking forward to that. I got to hook him up with a date. Remember, the success of the community depends on the community, so please support your local businesses. And please don't hesitate, vaccinate. Like Mike said, get that booster and also your flu shot. Protect not only yourself, but others as well. And Mike, if you see something,
Say something.
right, say something. Look out for one another out there. For all your weather information, be sure to head on over to dappertomsweather.com. It's got a great user-friendly website over there full of good information. We will see you right back here next week, live March 23rd, 8 p.m., for an important one for show number 615 with our guest, Demita Dubois from Wayne County, talking about school bullying and much more. So have your kids tune in with you, too. It's going to be an important one. So until then, we hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks for listening. If you'd like to contact us here at the chat for any reason, once again, our email, gccommunitychat@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know how we're doing, what you'd like to see more of. Thanks again for watching and all the comments. We appreciate it. Please have a safe rest of your week, and we'll see you next time. Happy St. Patrick's Day tomorrow. Be safe and good night. Mike, take care, buddy.
You too, Kerry.
Have
Good
a
luck
good
with
night.
your surgery.
Thank you. Bye.